Welcome to the Teaching Skills series, specifically focusing on assessment. Today's session is titled Blueprint and Exam to Outcomes, a fundamental step in effective course design. We'll be focusing on the table of specifications, which is essentially about deciding what to test before you write a single item, ensuring alignment with your learning objectives. This is a concise 15-minute module. We will provide one blueprint template, and our practical task will be to build a complete blueprint for one exam, translating these concepts directly into practice. The fundamental problem we face is that most exams are written, not designed. As the quote indicates, convenience can drive the selection of topics and questions, leading to several critical issues. This results in content drift, where easy-to-write topics are overrepresented, while critical or difficult-to-assess concepts are undertested or skipped entirely. We also see cognitive level drift, because recall questions are the fastest to write. Without a blueprint, an exam can silently drift toward 80% recall, even when application and reasoning are the priority. Ultimately leaves us with no defensible answer to challenge. When asked why an exam overrepresents certain criteria, the honest answer, that's how it worked out, is not defensible. The blueprint must be written before any exam item exists. It converts design from an accumulation of convenient questions into a deliberate sampling plan. This slide defines the crucial assessment blueprint, or grid, characterized by outcomes down, cognitive levels across, and item counts in the cells. As the legend clarifies, the rows of the grid represent your course learning outcomes, taken directly from the course specification. The columns define the cognitive level, utilizing Miller's framework from Module 1, knows, recall, knows how, and shows how, analysis. Each cell value within the grid represents the specific number of exam items designed to test a particular outcome. Crucially, as highlighted below, these cell values, the number of items, are determined by deliberate weighting, not convenience. This structured approach ensures comprehensive and balanced assessment, evident in the totals for each category and the overall grand total of 22 items shown here. Most importantly, the development of this grid is a foundational step. The final point emphasizes that the grid is built before a single question is written, establishing a strategic framework that precedes and guides the entire item creation process. On the cognitive level axis, a core principle is that without a level column, every exam tends to collapse toward recall. We use a 3-tiered framework. At the base is knows, which concerns foundational knowledge. The verbs include define, list, identify, and classify, typically assessed through recall MCQs. Importantly, this should be used sparingly, comprising 15 to 20% in most clinical courses. Next is knows how, the workhorse level. This involves application and interpretation, with verbs like calculate, interpret, and justify. It typically makes up 50 to 60% of a written exam. Finally, shows how represents the highest level, focusing on performance and diagnosis. This is assessed through OCEs, structured cases, and simulation, often separately from written exams, but mandatory in the blueprint. Ultimately, the blueprint forces the question, is this exam testing what the course teaches, or just what is quick to write? A level column makes that question answerable in seconds, not guesswork. Building a robust assessment blueprint requires a strict process. There are 5 steps, and it is imperative you follow them in this order, not the reverse. First, step 1, list the course outcomes as rows. Copy these directly from your course specification in Module 1. Do not invent new categories for the exam. Only what is a stated outcome should appear. Step 2 is to set the total number of items. Decide the total exam length based on time available. Roughly 1 minute per MCQ is a common rule of thumb. This creates a fixed budget to distribute. In step 3, weight each outcome by importance, not by ease. Use 3 criteria: clinical frequency, consequence of error, and centrality to the course. An outcome that is rarely tested but high consequence still needs representation. Step 4 is to distribute the total across the outcome by level grid. Multiply the outcome weight by your target level distribution. For example, 20, 60, 20 for knows how, and shows how. Round sensibly, as cells do not need to be exact. Finally, step 5. Check the totals against your intentions before writing a single item. Row totals should reflect outcome importance, and column totals should reflect your intended cognitive level distribution. If either is off, adjust the grid first, not the items.
When we weigh outcomes for assessment, it's guided by 3 crucial criteria, never convenience. First, clinical frequency. We must ask, how often does a graduate encounter this in practice? Hypertension management, for example, has a very high frequency, thus warranting more items. A rare genetic metabolic disorder, well, perhaps fascinating to teach, has low frequency and fewer items. Second, consequence of error. Here, the critical question is, what happens if a graduate gets this wrong? Anticoagulant dosing is key. Errors have low frequency but catastrophic consequences, demanding a protected minimum item count. Minor OTC drug interactions, well, frequent, are lower stakes. Finally, centrality to the course. Is this a course-defining concept or a peripheral detail? A mechanism that underpins 6 other topics deserves significantly more weight, as it tests transfer as well.
This slide illustrates a complete blueprint for a 30-item pharmacology midterm. It's a crucial tool for ensuring the exam comprehensively covers the course outcomes. As you can see, the blueprint breaks down items based on cognitive levels, knows how, and shows how, which represent increasing application levels. The table assigns weights to each course outcome, totaling 100%. The distribution across cognitive levels is 6 items for knows, 19 for knows how, and 5 for shows how, summing to the 30-item total. The check section confirms this balance. Roughly 20% knows, 63% knows how, and 17% shows how, matching the intended emphasis on application. Every outcome is appropriately assessed.
As we finalize our blueprint, there are 5 critical errors to check for. First, we have the phantom outcome. An outcome may exist in the course specification, but have 0 items on the blueprint. We must ensure every intended outcome is truly assessed. Next is the recall trap. Blueprint columns may be dominated by recall items because they're faster to write. You must check column percentages against your intended distribution. Thirdly, watch for the orphan level, where a cognitive level is assessed nowhere for an outcome that clinically requires it, such as no assessment for a hands-on skill. Point 4 addresses weight without justification. A row may have 8 items, while another has 2, with no clear criterion. If you cannot justify the weight in one sentence, revisit it. Finally, beware the blueprint that never gets checked. The most common failure is a finished exam that isn't mapped back to conform the plan.
This slide displays a blank template for a table of specifications, an essential tool for designing valid and balanced assessments. At the top, we define the exam course and the total items. Crucially, we establish the target level split, which delineates the distribution across cognitive levels, knows how, and shows how. The core matrix connects course outcomes to a weight percent, which determines the emphasis each outcome receives. This weight is then distributed across the cognitive levels. The weighting criteria on the right guide this determination, ensuring relevance and validity. They include clinical frequency, consequence of error, and centrality to course, aligning assessment priorities with course objectives.
All right, let's transition into your practical exercise, which will take 15 minutes. This is your turn to apply what we've discussed. First, please complete step 1. Choose one exam you are currently setting this semester. Ideally, select one you haven't finished writing yet, as the blueprint will be most valuable. Step 2 is to list the course outcomes and set the total item count. Copy outcomes directly from your course specification and decide the total number of items based on time available. Next, step 3, weight each outcome using the 3 criteria: clinical frequency, consequence of error, and centrality to the course. Write one sentence justifying each weight. Finally, step 4, complete the grid and check the totals against your intentions. Distribute items by outcome by level. Check row and column totals and run the 5 error check from slide 8. Ultimately, you will submit your completed table of specifications for one real exam, with a one-sentence justification for each outcome weight. Please upload this to the module page.
When developing assessments, there are 4 critical pitfalls to avoid. First, a common mistake is building the blueprint after the exam is already written. A blueprint constructed retrospectively merely describes what has occurred. It cannot shape the assessment. This inevitably leads to unconsciously adjusting categories to fit the existing exam, rather than the reverse. The blueprint must always be built first. Second, beware of making the outcome list too granular. Using 25 or more micro-outcomes results in matrices where every cell contains 0 or 1 item, which defeats the objective of seeing patterns. Aim for 5 to 8 outcome rows, focusing on course-level granularity, not session level. Third, treating the blueprint as fixed forever is a significant error. A blueprint should evolve as the course evolves, incorporating new clinical guidelines, curriculum changes, or patterns of student difficulty. Revisit it once a year, not once a decade. Finally, you must never neglect mapping the finished exam back to the blueprint. After all items are written, tag each one with its corresponding outcome and level, then retotal the grid using the actual items. If the real totals drift from the plan, it is the exam that requires adjustment, not the blueprint. To encapsulate the essence of effective assessment, remember this single sentence. An exam without a blueprint tests what was easy to write, while an exam with one truly tests what matters. This is critical for ensuring validity and relevance. Our key takeaways from this module emphasize the necessity of the grid structure, a rigorous 5-step build process, specific 3 weighting criteria, and a sound blueprint template. Moving forward, we will discuss how to write SBA/MCQs that test application, not recall, and understand the 12-item writing flaws to avoid.